Hello and welcome to another video. In this video I talk about perfectionism and why it's a trauma based on relationship, why it's a trauma based on appearances and deception, and why it's a need for control of other people's perception of you and what you're doing. It's a survival mechanism, it's a defense, it's a protection, it's an armor. And it's a neurosis, because there's a need to be perfect, but there's also a desire not to be perfect. There's a desire to let go. So why can't we let go? People who suffer from perfectionism, me included, in certain situations, because you won't be a perfectionist in everything. We want to be perfect because there's a need to preserve and protect something based on something that happened in the past. Because that's how it works with any neurosis, meaning you do this, but you don't actually want to do it, but you do it anyways because you feel like you have to. You see, perfectionism is a compulsion. There's a need to be perfect, even when it doesn't actually fulfill any need. Doesn't actually get you anything, and yet it's happening. Why? Why is perfectionism happening? So let's talk about me and my perfectionism. I also relate to it because this is not just a study of psychology and neurology, but also of astrology. I use astrology to explain where you can find the trauma in the chart. So in my case, my perfectionism has to do with Ceres, which is the goddess of agriculture, which I have in the second house. My perfectionism has to do with the fact that if I get something, if I own an object, if that object gets damaged, scratched, even just mildly dented, I get thought loops. I keep thinking about this thing. I try to fix it. Not I, of course. My brain, my body gets stuck in a loop. Tries to protect that thing. Tries to put it back together again. Just like in the mythology where Ceres tried to get her daughter back, which was abducted into the underworld. Her daughter was robbed from her, and she could not get her back. So she went crazy, she went nuts. She let humanity starve, she died, she killed many people with her starvation act. And eventually the gods gave in and allowed her to see her daughter 6 months of the year. So in this sense, there's a belief that if I try to control that object from breaking down, if I try to fix it, if I can just put it back together again, then I can prevent it from happening again. I can have some kind of control. So perfectionism is an act of self-preservation. If I put that thing together, I will minimize the pain of when it happens again. So you're trying to protect yourself against something in the future, which may not even happen. You don't even know if it happens, but in the future it may happen again. You don't want one mistake to stack on another mistake. So even just one tiny mistake is like 100 mistakes. And you see, if there's one problem, it's like it represents 1,000 problems. And that's why there is such a need to fix it. Because subconsciously, your body is primed. Your body is getting ready for more problems to come. Now, the only reason why it would do that is if that already happened in the past. So if you have perfectionism, at some point, one of your parents probably destroyed something from you, or they punished you for a tiny thing. And then every time you did the tiny thing again, the punishment kept happening. So the only way to protect yourself against the punishment was to stop yourself, to simply control yourself, suppress yourself. It's a very similar mechanism to people pleasing. So if you're trying to be perfect at something, you are people pleasing. But who are you pleasing? Clearly you're not pleasing yourself because you're not happy. So what are you doing it for? It's of course a relational trauma. Like all relational trauma, it can only be fixed in a relationship with somebody else. So if you're perfect about something, it's because deep inside you still feel dependent on the ideal outcome, meaning that they're going to be happy with your result, or you're going to be happy with your result. But it's not really about you. It's nothing to do with you. You don't want to be perfect. It's just making sure that nobody can judge you, that nobody can say anything against you, that nobody can punish you and take away whatever goods they may give you, whatever attention, admiration, narcissistic supply, you could say. But really, it's an infantile mechanism, because as a child, we do need to please the parent, of course. But if a parent is mentally ill and demands something that doesn't serve any purpose, doesn't matter. We will do the thing that we need to do to please the parent. The only people who don't try to please the parent, in other words, who give up on trying to please the parent, sorry to say, but those people are narcissists and psychopaths. 90%, okay, maybe not that much, at least 70%, because I leave the rest for narcissists and psychopaths, at least 70% of all people as children try to please the parents, and they succeed in pleasing the parents by doing specific things. Because most of the time, there is something that you can do to please them, right? It's not like it's impossible, unless your parent is also a narcissist or psychopath. In which case, you may have to suffer from some severe mental illness of some kind, like borderline or extreme form of codependency. Depending how much you were exposed to that kind of abuse, the perfectionism will be stronger. So it's all about pleasing that one person. So the question is, who did you try to please? Who did you try to make happy? With your sacrifice, with your control, with your perfectionism. So it's a matter of separating from that parent and from what they want you to do. And the only way to do that is to become independent in some way, to no longer need the parent's approval, because simply no longer trying to win the approval is not enough. Your nervous system needs to believe, needs to know that it's safe not to be perfect. And the only way to do that is to let go of anybody you're trying to please, to destroy those relationships that you're trying to please and control, and to allow yourself to be imperfect and literally see people, opportunities, benefits all slip away and be destroyed right in front of you, and to take the hit again and again. I'm sorry to say, but healing is not about love and light, unicorn farts, sunshine, rainbows. Healing is about taking a hit. And once you take that hit, and you see you're no longer able to keep that job, that relationship, that person, that thing, then there's grief. And you need to grieve the loss. The loss of never being able to be yourself and get what you want at the same time. Because that's what perfectionism is about. I can give you an example. When I was a child, my mother, she took all my physical possessions and my plush animals, my crystals, my jewelry, because I used to collect all kinds of stuff. It's not different from now. She used to take all of that and put it into a giant garbage bin. She threw it all away, destroyed it in front of me, and I had a little dog. Still have it. Still have a little dog. And it's not a real dog. It's a plush animal. And I said to Mommy, no, don't take it away. I will not allow you to take it away. I will keep it. I will keep it. She tried to take it away, of course. But I did everything in my power to stop her from taking it. Until finally she gave up. So then I kept it. And I still have it to this day. In other words, my response of holding on, keeping it at any cost, worked. And that was the birth of my trauma. Because you see, because that strategy has worked, now every time I get my hands on anything, again I do this. No matter what it is, anything, any object, any physical possession that I get my hands on. Not people, fortunately. That would be worse. That would be like a narcissist. But physical objects, if I try to let them go, I feel like I'm going insane. And narcissists are like that with people. Narcissists can't let people go. They feel like they're going insane. And that's why we need to control people and manipulate them. So narcissists are perfectionists with people. I'm a perfectionist with physical objects, thank God, not people. But you can be that with anything at all. Anything you're trying to keep like this is an armor. And it will destroy your mental health, your sanity. You will feel mentally ill when finally that strike hits you and that thing is taken away from you and you lose control. Because trauma is all about control, to make sure it doesn't happen again, that your mother doesn't take your things away again. So how can you undo this? How can you heal this? How can you reverse the damage? To undo perfectionism is to, again, like I said, life will create situations for you in which your control will be exposed and your need for control, and you will be challenged and you will become mentally unwell because your perfectionism will break down, as it should, but it's not a pretty thing to heal that, because you see, your body doesn't want to. Your body is convinced that as long as you're perfect, you will get what you want. So what do you want? Do you want to keep that thing? Of course you want to keep that thing. So how far are you willing to go? Where are your limits? Where are your boundaries? So it's about creating new boundaries. Now this is a slow process, because in neuroplasticity you create new parameters. And once you've created the new parameter, there will be pain every time you try to keep it. So let's give an example. Let's say you need to be nice to somebody, like people pleasing, in order to keep them. Now you make a new parameter that says, I'm only going to be nice until that point. So now let's imagine that point comes. The moment of truth where you have dictated for yourself that you're no longer going to be nice. So then you have to take action. You have to stop being nice. So you have to enforce your own rules. And that's going to be extremely painful because you'll feel the loss of control. And literally that thing will be taken away from you. That narcissist will leave you. Good riddance. And whatever else will leave you. But this is not supposed to be a part of your life. Not supposed to be under your control. Because you're supposed to control some things. And other things you're not. Because if you try, you will be mentally ill. Because you will suffer. But you will also suffer when you try to let go of the control. So it's like you can't win. Of course you can win. If you keep going. Enforce the rule. No matter what. And that strength is like an addiction. Perfectionism is an addiction. What do you do to break an addiction? You stop taking the drug. You stop doing that thing. You enforce the rule. And you stay to the rule. You commit to it. So you are in charge, not the trauma. Now a lot of people, a lot of therapists will tell you, no, this is not good. This is too harsh. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, it's harsh. Reality is harsh. You will suffer if you do this. Because guess what? An alcoholic suffers when you take the alcohol away. The problem is, it's a coping mechanism in case of an alcoholic. So is your perfectionism a coping mechanism? What are you trying to cope for? Maybe nothing. In which case it will be easy. You just enforce the rule and that's it. You don't have to do anything except that. But what if it is a coping mechanism for something? What if you are trying to fill a hole in your heart by doing that thing, trying to be perfect? In that case, you have to fill the hole in your heart, of course. So you no longer need the coping mechanism. I call this filling the gap. And that's something I do specifically in my one-on-one therapy, in my somatic experiencing and family trauma work. I teach you how to fill that gap. Now just briefly, because I can't do it on a video. How to do that? Well, you first acknowledge that the gap exists. That you have something missing. And that you're using that coping mechanism to fill it. So you find out what is missing. What did I not get? What do I want? And I'm simply using this to get it. So then you must find another way to get what you want. That is your way. That is not dictated by the trauma, the armor in the body, but by your own will. Your will dictates what's going to happen next. And that's part of the healing. Because if you don't do what you want, you're not going to heal, obviously. But you do what you want, and it seems too simple, doesn't it? Like, it's simple. It's not easy. You have to do it, is the problem. You have to do it. So let's say you don't love yourself. Maybe you don't like what you see. So now you try to be perfect so you like what you see. That could be a coping mechanism. In that case, you have to do something, get something, take action which proves to you, which feels like you're worthy. sorry to say, but delusion is not going to work. Because I used to hate myself. I used to feel disgusted by myself because my parents were disgusted by me. Do you think I didn't grow up in a ghetto? You think I learned to love myself like on luck or something? I don't know. No, I was not blessed with any such thing. I had it really badly. I grew up in a mental asylum. My family is a mental asylum. My family is extremely deranged, lunatic, mentally ill. So how the fuck do you break out of that? The vast majority of people don't. But you can. You see, you can break out. And here's what I've learned. The only way I learn to love myself is by doing things that make me feel good about myself. That means achieving a goal. Yes. What did you think? To just sing love and light affirmations to yourself? Get out. So set a goal. Number 2, let other people see you. Show somebody, even if it's only one person. Show them that you're lovable. Not through manipulation, like a narcissist, not through love bombing, not through seduction, but simply because of the goal, the activity, the behavior, the thing that you create that is so good that they have no choice but to love you, because it would be insane not to love you. Doesn't mean everybody will, but somebody has to. Oh no, how can you say this? Now I become dependent. This is where so many people go wrong. Relational trauma. Meaning, trauma that is based on somebody not loving you, not acknowledging you, can be fixed only relationally, in a relationship. You didn't think that you're an island. Humans are wired. Unfortunately, it's a matter of biology. We like to think in modern life that we can just be isolated and we can just ignore our biology and our need to be seen. But guess what? It's a need. You need to be seen. So somebody needs to see you. Somebody needs to gaze upon you, to affirm and confirm what your own eyes and ears report. Because you need that confirmation. Not like a narcissist. No, no, no. Not all the time. Only once. Only once. Only once you do something good, they confirm it, and you keep it. Like a memoir. Like a piece of yourself. Look, this is part of my story. Well, I have achieved this. I've climbed the ladder. I got to the top, and there was somebody else there that clapped applause for me. They applauded you because you're worthy. But you got there. You made it. And nobody can take that away. You only have to do it once. Really. Because that's what happened to me. I became a professional League of Legends player in 2017. Yes, it's an esports game online. It's an electronic sports game in which you compete, and I destroyed other people online because I'm so smart, in case you didn't notice. I'm so good at games that I destroyed people one-on-one. I outplayed them all the time, and obviously not everyone, but the vast majority. I was ranked 67 in Europe out of millions of people. 67. So that means I belonged to the 0.01% or something of the top ladder. Because I destroyed people. I was just better than they were. And there were other people noticing it, paying me money for it, inviting me to tournaments, telling me, oh my god, you're so good. And that's how I learned to love myself. Before that, I did not love myself. I'd never achieved anything. Nobody ever recognized me. Nobody ever told me, oh, you're actually a good person, you're good. Nobody said ever anything. Okay, that was until 2017, when I was 19 years old, until my 20th year of my life. Nobody ever acknowledged me. Really, well, not completely, but I didn't acknowledge myself. And this helped me to recognize that actually, yeah, clearly reality agrees with me. I mean, if everybody around me tells me that I'm the shit, I guess I am the shit. So if people keep telling me repeatedly over and over and over, it sinks in. So after that, I retired. I retired shortly after I got everything that I wanted to achieve. And I never lost the self-esteem that I gained from that time. Now that was 7 years ago. The self-esteem from back then, I kept it forever. I will die keeping that self-esteem, that self-worth. Nobody can take it away. So that's how you learn to love yourself. I'm sorry it's not what you wanted to hear, perhaps. But you can't love yourself if reality doesn't agree with you. If reality itself tells you that you're unlovable, how are you going to believe that you're lovable unless you are a narcissist and you lie to yourself? Narcissists lie to themselves and need other people to lie to them in return. But they won't accept reality. So they will never accept and hold on to anything. No matter how many times you tell them that you love them, they will not believe you. But anybody else, any even remotely healthy person with any hope whatsoever, yes, they will remember when you tell them, and they will store it in the memoirs if they value your opinion. So that's why people get famous, even those who are not so mentally ill. Even the non-narcissists who get famous, they do because they just wanted somebody to tell them that they're lovable. That's all they wanted. And once they achieved it, they will only keep it if they believe it. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people, even when reality proves to them that they are good, they still don't believe it. Not because they can't, only narcissists can't, but because, I don't know, I guess they're just that good at self-gaslighting. I don't know. Because I didn't have this problem. Once people told me that I'm good, I was good. And that was it. It was that simple for me. And I grew up in a mental asylum. Horrible background. So if I can do it, 90%, okay, not many, 70% of people can do it as well. You love yourself. When you like what you see, other people like it too. You're in alignment. There's no dissonance there. So then you keep it. And that's it. So that's one way how to heal the gap. I know it was kind of a long explanation, but that's how it worked for me. Now I hope you can find something useful from this video. And if you liked it, leave a like and a comment. And if you're interested, you can get a session with me. I work one-on-one with people If you need any kind of guidance, if you need any kind of trauma release or de-armoring, and you have a problem and you don't know how to fix it, you can come to me and message me on Facebook. So with that being said, see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.